Hi guys, thank you so much for joining me. Today I'm going to lead you through a flow sequence, and it's, leading up towards Pincha Mayurasana. So this is like Pincha Prep Part 2. But if you have no interest in doing Pincha Mayurasana, totally fine. This flow is also just going to help strengthen your shoulders, and who doesn't want that, right? So you will need at least one block, if not two, and then a strap, and you will need one of these. So if you don't have a yoga strap, I'm using the strap of my bathrobe. You could also use a towel, just something that you can hold and pull against. So if you've got your blocks, you're going to set them up on their medium height, shoulder width distance apart. If you don't have blocks, you can come into puppy pose. So we're going to have our knees underneath our hips, and we'll bring our elbows down onto the blocks. And then you'll find a prayer position up overhead, allowing your forehead to come towards the floor and bringing your thumbs to the nape of your neck. And for the first couple of cycles of breath here, just allow yourself to come naturally into the pose. Don't worry too much about refining anything just yet. Just kind of notice where your body's at today, how it feels. And then as you start to refine this shape, think of, rather than just sinking everything towards the floor, a sense of lifting up. So you're pulling the ribs in. And like I said, rather than sinking through the shoulders, particularly if you are mobile in that area, it might be really easy for you to kind of really drop into the shoulders. So I want you to lift out of them a little. Think of hollowing through the underarms, and then energetically try to squeeze your elbows towards your hips. So there's a little bit of like a resistance, or you might feel a pull through the sides of your body. And continuing to breathe here, maybe that's with your Ujjayi breath. Keep checking in those little points that we already spoke about. So the pulling up of the ribs, the hollowing out of your underarms, and that energetic sliding of your elbows back towards your hips. We'll take another 5 deep breaths here. Press down into your arms to lift your head up off the mat, and you'll remove your arms off the blocks. So if you are working with blocks, you'll change them to their lowest setting, and you'll find that same arm variation. If you're not working with the props, you'll lie flat on your belly and reach your arms forwards. So we're all coming down onto our bellies. So I'm going to set my forearms back up. And what we're adding in here is some core work. And we're going to try and find this hollow body shape. So if you're flat on the floor, the hands can just be out in front of you, maybe tenting your fingers. So you're pressing down through the tops of your feet, so much so that the kneecaps lift. And then work to pull your navel away from the mat. Pull your front ribs in. And breathe here. So your hips are still down, the pubic bone is down. But if you're in this position with the blocks, you can imagine that if you were to flip this, you're essentially be in your forearm stand.
And you know when you're doing this right because you'll probably start to shake a little. I definitely am. This is deep core work. Make sure you're squeezing your butt, lifting the navel. Just about another 30 seconds here. Try to keep the belly lifted the whole time. And release the belly down. Whew. We're going to come to our hands and our knees. So you can set those blocks off to the side now. So come to your hands and knees and just take some circles. If you really love cat-cow, maybe working cat-cow. We're not going to be here for super long, but just taking a little bit of organic movement, whatever feels good. And then you'll find your way to stillness and a neutral spine. Take your hands just a little further forwards. Make sure your hands are really set up so that this kind of V shape that you're making will be facing towards the front edge of your mat. And then I want you to spin your inner elbow creases forwards, and you'll see the external rotation that happens in the upper arm and the shoulders. Now bend your elbows, and slowly and with control, you're going to lower the forearms all the way down. Try to get them to come onto the mat at the same time, and then you'll lift them all the way back up. We're just going to continue with that movement, lowering and lifting the forearms. Imagine you were squeezing a block between your upper arms and you didn't want to let that block go. And again, you kind of know when you're doing this right because you might start to shake a little. Try and keep the external rotation the whole time, so still spinning those inner elbow creases forwards. Let's go for 3, 2, last one. You'll lift all the way back up, tuck your toes, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And then pedal out through the feet if you need. Maybe you're going to take your hands wider or your feet wider. Taking some movement in order to get settled. And then once you've done all those little wriggles and movements, you'll find stillness in your downward facing dog. So remember, we're wanting to find length through our spine here. So maybe bend your knees or lift your heels. Get your hips up and back, lengthen through your spine. And then let's pay attention to the arms and shoulders. Beginning with your hands, spreading the fingers. You're lifting the forearms away from the floor. So you're not, again, trying to sink down, but rather to lift up. Spin your inner elbow creases forwards. And again, maybe you feel that external rotation of the upper arms. Feel your triceps pull back. Hollow out through the underarms and then really press the floor away from you. Smooth, deep breaths in and out through the nose. And if you feel like you're holding on to tension here, try opening and closing your mouth a few times, maybe even fluttering out the lips. We'll take 3 more breaths. Walk your hands to your feet. You can circle out through your wrists a couple of times, maybe take a ragdoll. Any movement here, swaying or nodding and shaking your head. Hands back to the floor, walk out downward facing dog. So similar to what we did on our hands and knees, look forwards, spin your inner elbow creases forwards, and slowly begin to lower your forearms all the way down to the mat, finding dolphin. You're pulling your ribs in. And again, slowly starting to lift the forearms back up, downward facing dog. You might want to play around here with how wide your hands are. If you feel a lot of tension in the shoulders, widen your hands. So we spin the inner elbow creases forwards, bend the elbows slow and controlled. Imagine you are squeezing the block between your upper arms, lower the forearms down and lift them all the way back up. Good. We're going to lower them down. This time just hover an inch off the mat. So this is turbo dog. I have no idea where it got its name, but it kind of makes sense. Actually, I think it's from Anna Forrest, if you've ever done forest yoga. Lower the forearms down. Interlace your fingers. Maybe walk the feet in a little bit more. Keep pressing the floor away from you. And we'll bring our chin forwards, tap the fists, and lift it back up. So taking these little dolphin push-ups. Continuing to breathe. I feel bad that this pose is called a dolphin pose because dolphins are like such a pretty animal and most people like that animal but not really like this shape. It's kind of unfortunate. Let's go for 3, 2, and 1. Separate your hands, shoulder width distance apart. Walk your feet back, find forearm plank. Squeeze your butt. So trying to find a little bit of that hollow body hold shape that we did at the start. Pull your sternum forward so that you're lengthening. You're not overly rounding through the upper back. Squeeze your butt, breathe. Lower the hips all the way down, Sphinx pose. You can separate the feet as wide as the mat if you like, and then work on pulling your chest through your shoulders. Let's take an inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Right arm will come out to the right. Now you can cactus the arm. If it feels okay on the shoulder, you can also have the arm straight out to the right. You'll bring the right cheek to the floor and we'll stretch out through the chest and shoulders. So if you like, you can step the left foot behind you. If that doesn't work, just keep the legs stacked. And if this is causing any pain or discomfort in your shoulders, you can always just hold in Sphinx pose. Last couple of breaths here on this side. And you'll come back through center and we'll change sides. Different shoulder, maybe you need something a little different on this side, so adjust as you need. Stepping the right foot back. And if it's uncomfortable for you to bring your head to the floor, you could always place a block or a cushion underneath your cheek. Last few breaths here. Coming all the way back through center, onto your belly. We'll take some fingertip cobras. Take your hands wider than the mat. Inhale, curl your chest up. Pull your chest through the shoulders and release back down. 2 more. Inhale and exhale. Last one. Downward facing dog. Walk your feet to your hands. Take a forward fold here. Maybe interlacing the hands back behind you. That's just going to continue to stretch out the chest and shoulders. You could just take ragdoll if you prefer. And really allow your head to get heavy, your neck long. If you're holding on to any remaining tension, see if you can leave it behind here. That's not to say that yoga fixes all your problems, if only life was that simple. But can you give yourself this time to stay fully connected to your breath and to your body? Release your arms, press into your feet, begin to roll all the way up to standing. And at the top, roll your shoulders back and down. Gather your hands into prayer and allow your eyes to close. Perhaps setting an intention for your practice. Inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Release your arms and allow your eyes to flutter open. Let's flow a little here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Big stretch, reach up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold forwards, Uttanasana. Inhale to lift up halfway. Strong legs, strong belly. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Again, inhale, reach up. You've got the whole exhale to fold forwards. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Last one, follow the wave of your breath. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Adding on, inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step back, downward facing dog. Spin your inner elbow creases forwards. Bend both elbows and hover your forearms just off the mat. Pull the front ribs in. Keep the hips lifting up. Turbo dog. Try to squeeze your forearms together. Try to squeeze your upper arms together. Lower both forearms all the way down. And then working to lift both forearms at the same time, press into the hands, downward facing dog. Spin the inner elbow creases forwards. Turbo dog, hold and breathe, hold and breathe. I know it's strong. Lower both forearms down. Press into your hands, lift the forearms up, downward facing dog. Last one, spin the inner elbow creases. Turbo dog, breathe. Lower both forearms down. A little different. Interlace your fingers, walk your feet in a little, find your dolphin pose. And then adding on the push-up. So bringing your chin towards your fists and then pushing the floor away from you, lift it back up. Continue with this movement. So I'm always a fan of slow and steady. And if you want to be really particular about it, try to go slower in the bits that you want to speed up in, right? So that's generally where our weakness is. So if you can slow that little bit down, that's going to help you build a little more strength. Let's do 3 more. Separate your hands, walk your feet back, forearm plank, breathe. You can always use the knees if you need. Pull the sternum forwards. Lift up through the navel, squeeze your butt. Lower your hips to the floor, Sphinx pose. Take an inhale through the nose. Open mouth, exhale. Release your forehead down. One low cobra. Inhale, peel the chest up, shoulders back and down. And release, downward facing dog. Maybe you push up through a high plank. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg. Bend the knee, open up through the hip, and circle it out a couple of times. And so it might be that you start to drop into your left shoulder here. Keep trying to press the floor away from you, taking your hip circles in the other direction. Think of evenly pressing through both hands. On an exhale, draw your knee to your nose. Pause. Push the floor away from you. Round your upper back. Step the right foot forwards. Step the left foot forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Back to plank pose this time. We'll bring the right forearm down, left forearm down, right hand, left hand, left forearm, right forearm, left hand, right hand, right forearm, left forearm, right hand, left hand. Last one, left forearm, right forearm, left hand, right hand. Shift forwards, lower chaturanga to your belly. Cobra pose. Inhale, peel the chest up. And release, downward facing dog. Lift the left leg, bend the knee, open up through the hip, circle it out. Press evenly through both hands. Take those circles back in the opposite direction. Use an exhale to draw knee to nose. Pause. Press the floor away from you. Draw the belly in. Step the left foot forwards. Step the right foot forwards. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Step back, plank pose. Now you can use your knees if you need here. I'm gonna take scapular push-ups. So you're squeezing the shoulder blades together and then spreading them apart. Squeeze and spread. Trying to keep the arms straight and strong. And remember, this is different to cat-cow. So we're not focusing on arching and rounding the spine, but on working through the shoulder blades. And it can be a little bit of a weird movement. But when you squeeze the shoulder blades, think of like popping a cherry in between the shoulder blades, and then you're spreading them apart. Let's do one more. Find your plank pose. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra, or maybe upward facing dog this round. Take it back, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths here. Bend your knees, inhale, look forwards, take a light jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. 2 rounds, Surya A. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Downward facing dog, 3 deep breaths. Bend your knees, inhale, look forwards, little jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up.
Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold.
Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, chaturanga. Through your back bend. Downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Bend your knees, inhale, look forwards, jump to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Rise to stand, reach up.
Hands to prayer. Chair pose, sit low. So take a couple of breaths here to ease your way into your first Utkatasana. Check in with the legs. This doesn't have to be super deep if you're not feeling it today. And then bring your awareness to your arms. Spin your pinky fingers in and you'll feel that same external rotation through the upper arm and shoulder. Take another full breath in. Exhale, fold.
Inhale as you lengthen. Step the right foot back, reach your left arm up. Easy twist.
You're spreading through your collarbones, twisting through the torso and bringing a little bit of movement to the upper back. Last full breath in.
Exhale, release, vinyasa.
Remember, you can always skip these out or maybe add something in if you know how. Reach the right leg up.
Exhale, knee to nose. Step the right foot forwards. Reach the right arm up. Easy twist.
So as you hug the right hip in, you're then twisting more through your torso. Extend through the crown of your head as you press back through the left heel.
Release your right hand to the floor. Step the left foot forwards and fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, fold.
Rise to stand, reach up. Hands to prayer. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold.
Inhale, lengthen. I'm going to step the left foot back, reach the right arm up.
And then this time, reach the right arm forwards, wrap the pinky finger down. So feel that work in your shoulder. Again, as you spin the pinky finger. Last breath here.
Exhale, release, vinyasa. Left leg lifts. Knee to nose, step the left foot forwards, reach the left arm up.
And then reach the left arm forwards, wrap the pinky finger.
Release the left hand down, step the right foot forwards, fold. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. Chair pose, sit low, reach the arms up.
Breathe here. Lift your chest, pull the ribs in, lift the belly. Rise to stand, Tadasana. Chair pose. So you're going to keep the legs as they are in chair. Bend your elbows, cactus the arms. On an inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhale, round, pull the forearms in. 2 more. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round. Inhale. And exhale. Chair pose, re-extend your arms. Exhale, fold.
Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, step or float vinyasa.
Come into your plank pose.
Side plank, blade edge of left foot, left hand, reach the right arm up.
You can always modify by staggering the feet or lowering the left knee down. So you really want to press the floor away from you. Try and spin your fingers out and spin your inner elbow crease forwards. You want to make this more challenging, lifting your gaze towards your right thumb. We're going to go slow and steady here. Pick up your right leg and you're going to step it all the way to the top of the mat.
You'll find a high lunge, bringing a block with you. Reach on up.
You're going to squeeze the block in between your hands. And as you do that, make sure you're pulling the right hip back, left hip forwards, and pulling these front ribs in. From here, bend your elbows. Bring the block back behind your head and hug your upper arms towards your ears. And again, you kind of know when you're doing this right because it is pretty strong. Particularly when you are really trying to contain everything through the torso. Reach the block back up and then bring the block to your chest, warrior 3. Take your time as you move into the balance. So you're extending through the crown of the head and then pressing back through your left heel. Either stay here, or if you wanted a little bit of extra fire, reach the block forwards, squeeze it between your hands, and hug your biceps to your ears. One-legged Tadasana, come up to stand, draw your left knee up, and you're gonna place the block over your left shin, or in front of your left shin, I should say, and then stand up nice and tall. You're pressing your shin into the block as you pull the block back towards the leg. Try to keep your shoulders stacked on your hips. And then moving nice and slowly here, reach the block back up. You're gonna kind of pass through your warrior 3, slow and controlled, to step all the way back to high lunge position. You'll take the block into your right hand and open out to warrior 2. So for some reason, when we have the block in the right hand, this tends to happen. So give a little tug on your left hand to pull your shoulders back on top of your hips. Maybe closing your eyes. Settling into the shape. Allowing your body a chance to be still here. Straighten through the front leg, reach forward, Trikonasana, placing the block to the outside of your right shin, reach your left arm up. So again, take the time here to set your legs, your body into a nice strong triangle pose. And then when you're ready to add on, reach the left arm forwards, wrap the pinky finger down. Stay here or pick up the block, squeeze it between both of your hands, and then you're reaching it forwards. Breathe, 3, 2, last one. Half moon, block out in front of you, take your time getting there. You want to make sure the right toes are facing forwards. You're pressing back through your left heel. And once you feel like you have your balance, perhaps you're starting to get a little lighter on the right hand, maybe hovering it off the block. Step back, warrior 2. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, vinyasa. Shift into plank pose. Side plank, Vashisthasana, blade edge of right foot, right hand, reach the left arm up. And again, your modifications are to stack or stagger the feet, or maybe bring your right shin down. And for those of you who are a little more experienced, you're really working to smooth out the transitions, maybe even slowing them down a little bit more. So you'll start to hover the left leg.
Look towards the top of the mat. Step your left foot all the way up. Grab your block, come up, high lunge position.
Refine the shape in your lower body. You know, I'm not spending a lot of time talking about that today because it's not the focus. But once you've got your legs, your hips, your pelvis sorted, then bending your elbows, bringing the block back behind your head. So the elbows will want to wing out. Try not to let that happen. Squeeze them in. Reach the block back up. Bring the block to your chest, warrior three. Shift forwards, find your balance first. So I can't emphasize that enough, right? We really want to still come into the foundational pose before we add anything in. Remember, if you're hypermobile, just to bend that standing leg a little bit. That's more of a reminder to myself as well. And then once you feel like you're steady and stable, maybe you reach the block forwards. So feel this energy as you reach forwards, kicking back. One-legged Tadasana, come up to stand. You're going to place the block around the front of your shin. Stand up tall, shoulders over hips. Extend through the crown of the head as you root down through your left foot. Reach the block back up. Passing through warrior three. All the way back to high lunge position. Block into your left hand. We open out warrior two. So maybe check back in. Are you leaning overly forwards? Pull the right hand back a little so that the shoulders stack over the hips. We settle in here for a bit of a hold. It's always nice to actually allow a pose to breathe before moving on. Straighten through the front leg. Trikonasana, reach forwards. Block comes to the outside of the left shin, reach the right arm up. So you're pulling the left hip back, lengthening the tailbone towards your heel. And particularly if you do end up adding on the block, you really want to make sure your legs are strong and steady because it is a lot on the body to hold that block. You're going to reach the right arm forwards, wrap the pinky finger down, feel that work into your shoulder. Stay here, or you're going to pick up the block, squeeze it between your hands. Just like a little yogi missile as you press that block forwards, lengthen the tailbone down. Breathe, 3, 2, last one. Half moon, block out in front of you, lift your right leg. Allow the shape to breathe. There's no rush. Maybe as you start to feel lighter in the pose, you can hover your left hand. Warrior 2, step all the way back. Flip the front palm, inhale, reverse. Hands to the floor, vinyasa. We're going to take 5 breaths here in downward facing dog, or if you prefer, take a child's pose and wrap the arms back alongside you. So maybe your shoulders need that little bit of a rest. It's just 5 breaths here. Downward facing dog.
Shift forwards into plank pose. Side plank, blade edge of left foot, left hand, reach the right arm up. Maybe you're gonna hover the right leg a little bit sooner this time. Maybe still lifting your gaze to your right thumb. Just make sure you're not taking this too far into a back bend. And then slow and steady, we'll step the right foot all the way to the top of the mat, bringing your strap with you this time, finding your way into your lunge position. So we're gonna hold the strap up overhead, and you can play around with how wide your hands are. So it's gonna depend on your shoulders. So you wanna keep the arms straight, again, everything nice and contained through the torso, and then pull on the strap. Now let your shoulder blades actually lift here. So we often talk about in yoga to relax the shoulders, which is fine in certain poses, but at the moment with our arms up, it's the job of the shoulder blades to lift. So allow that natural action to happen. We don't want to work against nature. Pull on the strap. So we just did a lot of the action of like pushing into the block or pressing into the block, and now we're kind of doing that opposite action of pulling away. So all of this just to help strengthen the muscles around the upper back and shoulders. Keep pulling against the strap, but bring it out in front of you. Take a breath in. Exhale, we twist to the right. So your right knee will want to roll in. Try not to let that happen. Keep the pressure on the strap and rotate your chest a little more to the right. Come back through center, strap to your chest, warrior three. Shift the weight into your right foot, find your balance. Once you've got a steady warrior three, maybe you add on the strap out in front of you. So here's the thing, if you're gonna add a prop on, particularly in something like this, you really wanna make sure you're using it. So if you're just kind of limply holding the strap out in front of you, it's not really gonna add to the pose. But if you're pulling against the strap and at the same time really pressing the arms forwards, that's when you'll feel that this helps you out. You're gonna fold into standing splits, placing the strap at the top of the mat and fold. Pull the belly in. And even though the left hip may roll open a little bit, don't let it go the whole way. So you still wanna kind of square off the hips towards the mat. Step your left foot all the way back. Right foot back, downward facing dog. Spin your inner elbow creases forwards. We're gonna hover in turbo dog, hover the forearms. Forearms all the way down. Press into your hands, lift the forearms back up, downward facing dog. Again, spin the inner elbow creases forwards. Turbo dog, hover, hover. Lower the forearms down. Dolphin pose. So you can interlace the hands if you like. You could also place a block between your hands if you feel like they keep spinning in. Otherwise, hands remain shoulder width distance apart. We're walking the legs in. Press the floor away from you. Stay here or reach your right leg up. Maybe stay here or lift onto the ball of the left foot. And then you keep energizing through both legs, tip a little further into the left foot, and maybe come all the way up, Pincha Mayurasana. So as I was saying, even if you don't want to come upside down, or if you want to pause the video and go to the wall and spend some playtime, this whole sequence, even though Pincha is like a peak pose, you can still get a lot out of it if you don't come upside down. So we're gonna come all the way back down, forearm plank, walk the feet out. Lengthen through the spine again. Lower your hips down, Sphinx pose. Take an inhale through your nose. Stick out your tongue, lion's breath. And then release your forehead down. You're going to take the strap out in front of you. And again, we're pulling on the strap, nothing new there, pressing down into the tops of the feet. Inhale, lift your chest up, your arms up, pull on the strap. Now stay here, or you're going to do this 3 times. Bend your elbows, bring the strap back behind your head and to your shoulders, and then re-straighten the arms back up. 2 more, bend the elbows, pull the strap back, and extend. Last one, this is like you're at the gym, right, with a barbell. Reach the strap back out, and release. Child's pose, wrap your arms back alongside you. Downward facing dog. Right, last side here. Come into plank pose. Blade edge of right foot, right hand, Vashisthasana, reach the left arm up. And it's pretty normal by now that the shoulders are starting to get tired. So just be mindful of that, and if you need to adjust, adjust. Try not to get frustrated. This is a lot of strength building work. And slowly step to the top of the mat. You'll pick up your strap, find your way into a high lunge position, and then pull on the strap. Corseting everything in through the waist. Try to straighten your arms, allow the shoulder blades to lift. Bring the strap out in front of you, keep the tension on it, and then we twist to the left. All the way back through center, strap to your chest, warrior 3. Weight into your left foot, lift the right leg up. Find your balance, and then maybe add on by taking the strap forwards. Standing splits, strap lies across the mat as you fold your chest over your left thigh. And maybe you even allow the right hip to open for a moment and then work to re-square it off. Fold in a little deeper, pull up through the belly. Step the right foot all the way back, left foot back, downward facing dog. Last time with this ridiculous turbo dog stuff, I know it's not a huge crowd favorite, but it is really effective for what we're doing. So spin the inner elbow creases forward. Hover your forearms just an inch. A little different this time. From turbo dog, straighten the arms into downward facing dog. Turbo dog. Pause, breathe. Now I noticed that I did this myself. When I straightened the arms, I did it pretty quickly. So on this round, let's see if we can slow it down. So as you straighten your arms, go nice and slow. Push the hips up and back. Last one, turbo dog. All the way into dolphin this time, lower the forearms down. So you choose, are you interlacing the fingers? Are you using a block? Press the floor away from you. It's a little bit of a cat-like spine in the upper back as you walk the feet in. So you want to make sure that your shoulders haven't come too far forwards, right? So shoulders are stacked on top of the elbows. I'm pulling the belly up, rounding through the upper spine a little, and then lifting the left leg. Working to keep the hips square here. Lifting up onto the ball of the right foot. Maybe it's a gentle little hop, maybe it's a little press up. If you find some hang time, squeeze your inner thighs, squeeze your inner ankles. We're coming back into forearm plank. Breathe, pull the chest forwards. Sphinx pose. Inhale through the nose. Stick out your tongue and exhale. Release your head down. You're going to hold onto the strap. We've got that last thing to do here. Press into the feet. Lift head, chest, and shoulders up. And then 3 times bend your elbows. Bring the strap to your shoulders. Lift it back up. 4, 2. Last one. Lift it back up and release. Take a child's pose, wrapping the arms back alongside you.
And see if you can just let go of what did or didn't happen during that inversion work. I know it can be frustrating when you have a goal and you're really trying to work towards it. You're putting in the time, the hours, the effort. But trust that your body will get there in its own time, in its own way. And really a class like that you just did is a real training ground, right? So if you're working towards Pincha Mayurasana, if you were to do a class like that, maybe once a week, really being specific about the work that you're doing, maybe complementing it with a few other things, then you might start to see or feel some progress in your Pincha Mayurasana. We're going to lift all the way back up.
So the great thing with this video, of course, is that you can press stop or pause. Maybe you want to work into a headstand, so similar work into the shoulders and the upper back, but obviously just a little less strength required. Or you might want to play around with your pincher or go to a wall. In the interest of time, I'm going to finish this sequence off for you guys. So you're going to find reverse tabletop position. Hands either facing in towards your hips or you can spin them out. Now press into your feet and lift the hips up. Squeeze your butt at the top. Stretch through your chest, through your shoulders. And then if you can keep the hips lifted, maybe drop the head back, stretch out through your throat. Lowering all the way back down. You can circle out through your wrists a couple of times. And then let's do one more like that. Coming up. And sometimes it's nice here to place a block between your inner thighs. So if you feel like your legs kind of are starting to switch off, that can be a good thing to do. And you'll lower your hips all the way back down and circle out through the wrists a couple of times. From here, you'll come to lie down on your back. Keep your knees bent, take your feet as wide as the mat. Do whatever feels comfortable with your arms. Let's just take 3 deep breaths here.
Bring your arms back down alongside you. Heel toe your feet to hips with distance. 1 round of bridge pose. So press into your feet, lift the hips up. If you like, you can hold onto the outer edges of the mat to help you wriggle the shoulder blades together. And from here, then maybe you interlace your fingers. Feel your lower body working to help support you here in the back bend. And lower all the way back down. So if you have your yoga block, you could take a supported bridge, placing it underneath your sacrum. Or otherwise, I'm gonna go for 1 more back bend here. And of course, you could repeat bridge, absolutely. If you want wheel, the shoulders are definitely prepped for that. So you can take your hands back behind your ears, press down into your feet, lift up onto the crown of the head, adjust as you need, and then start to straighten your arms. Maybe walking the hands in a little closer. This is a beautiful way to counter all of that work we did with our Pincha Prep. And release back down. Hug your knees into your chest, and you could even take them as wide as you like, pressing the lower back down into the floor. Maybe circling out through the ankles, pointing and flexing the feet. Extend the left leg long, hug the right knee in a little bit tighter. We'll take it into a supine twist, draw the knee over to the left, right arm out to the right. 3 breaths here. Come back through center, re-extend your right leg, hug your left leg in. Draw your knee over to the right, left arm out to the left. 3 breaths. Come back through center. Either take a happy baby or a final squeeze of the knees in towards your chest. Taking any final little movements here. And then as and when you're ready for Shavasana, you'll set yourself up with any props that you like. This is where I'm gonna leave you guys, but do try to stay for about 3 to 5 minutes, really resting and giving your body a chance to reap the benefits of the practice. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy. Namaste.